Hi everyone and welcome to episode 54 of the Talk is Cheap show. Hope you're all well, healthy and COVID free. Thanks for everyone for tapping in. We truly appreciate your support. Just to say that today's show, by the way, is brought to you by the Flick app. So please download the app so you can interact with us and send your comments in and as you go along. Appreciate that very much. And also to say we've got another great show lined up for you today. But before we go any further, it is my duty-bound pleasure, honour, and all things great to introduce, well, he needs no introduction, the one and only Curtis Shaw. Big C in the house. What are you saying, bro?
Oh, good, bro. How are you?
I'm all right, man. What have you been up to?
You know what? I can't wait till we come on a show and we're just talking about victories and celebrating, do you know what I mean? But maybe in due course.
I think, to be honest, although I said we've got a great show lined up, which I do believe, I could also say it's a little bit downbeat, some of the things we're going to talk about. So I'm warning you guys in advance. But moving on swiftly. Somebody actually mentioned in the comments that I'm always moving on swiftly last week. Moving on to our news and notes section of the show, which is, those of you familiar will know that we talk about stories making the headlines since the last show. And I guess there's only one story in town really, isn't it? And that's the sceptre of racism raising its ugly head yet again in UK football. At the weekend, sure you're all aware by now, Millwall versus Derby, championship game, players taking the knee. Met with a loud raucous of blues, you know what I mean? And it was very unsavoury stuff, man. What can I say? I mean, first I have to say I'm not surprised, especially given the club. I've got to say this, given the club where it took place as well. I mean, it's interesting because a friend of mine sent me a tweet not too long after it happened, and I didn't even have to open up the tweet to know where this had come from. You know what I mean? I just knew straight away it was going to be them, man. But and then later, some people was trying to unbelievably defend it and saying it wasn't racism. It was protesting against the BLM being perceived as a political movement, and it was booing against political statements in football. But come on, man. Let's be honest. It was to me anyway, it was a blatant disrespect of black players, black footballers, and black people everywhere. It was just pure, unadulterated racism for me. And let's be honest, man, it was always going to happen, this type of thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean,
it was always going to happen.
I'm not surprised.
No,
like
no one's surprised with it going. And to be fair to Millwall, though, it's not going to be just them, is it?
No.
There are going to be fans up and down the country that react in this type of way. And you know, the ironic thing about it is that we've actually spoken about taking the knee on previous shows, haven't we? And it's my opinion, and it's my honest opinion, that I think that they should have discontinued taking the knee some weeks ago. I think that the whole taking the knee's run its course. It's become little more than a pre-match ritual to me for a lot of the players, and I'm including the black players in this as well. When you see whenever you watch a players taking the knee before the games, you observe the body language. It's very nonchalant. A lot of them are just doing it because they've been told they've got to do it. There's no real feeling there. And I think the gesture had run its course. So I think Les Ferdinand had said a similar thing as well. So I think it should have been discontinued. The gesture at the start of the proceedings, when it was first introduced, it was a great show of solidarity and unity. But I think since then it's become a bit of like I said, a pre-match ritual that's run its course, and they probably should dispense of it. The problem is now that this has happened, the FA have got a bit of a decision to make, isn't it? Because if they dispense with it now, it's going to look like the racists have won. But just quickly, I mean, I don't want to take up all the time on this. What's your thoughts on it?
I mean, as you said, I think the FA have to do something about it, you know, and I don't expect them to take the strong action that we'd all like to see. I have to say, even though it is a football club that people are not surprised about, it isn't their entire fan base, of course, but they don't seem to have taken any real action against it either. So again,
I was going to go on to say that we had the game after that, Millwall versus QPR, and given the fallout that happened at the weekend, there was this show of unity amongst the players where they linked arms. Some players took the knee and some... I couldn't quite understand
some
that.
Some were standing up, some were on the knee.
I couldn't quite understand that. I mean, Millwall seemed to be getting a lot of credit for what they did against QPR, but unless I'm missing something, their players didn't take the knee, did they? Not all of them.
No, not all of them.
So why are they getting that much credit for? I don't get it.
I don't know. But then I saw when QPR player scored, he shushed the fans and then did that celebration.
There were a few boos, weren't there?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, so.
Listen, man, you're never going to stop racism in football, as in life. Unfortunately, racism is something that will always follow us, man. So I don't quite know how they're going to deal with this situation. I really don't. But I think as regards taking the knee, like I said, people, I think it's time for it to be discontinued. But my reasons for discontinuing it are very different from some of the fans that turned up at Millwall last week. But anyway, we had to talk about that. And then secondly, there was the other incident that took place after that, later in the week. Besiktas, is it? Versus PSG.
PSG, yeah.
An alleged racial slur or insult being uttered by one of the officials.
It's
unbelievable,
isn't it?
I mean, this is what I'm saying, people. Racism is just one of those things that is never going to go away.
It's crazy. I mean, the one thing I did like is that the solidarity of the players to come together and say, we're not going to accept this. If you've got a match official doing that, why should I take part in this game?
You've got fans, players, match officials all engaging in this type of stuff, man.
Isn't it, unfortunately?
Yeah, so it's just very sad.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, it's a sad reality of football, and like I said, in life in general. So, yeah, man, we'll see where that goes. I mean, they're going to replay that. The players walked off the pitch, and they're going to replay the game. So we'll watch it closely and see what happens. But okay, let's move on to something a little bit more positive. Then let's talk about the first of our previous games since the last show. The first one was against Rapid Vienna, Europa League game. It was significant because a number of fans were allowed back in the stadium, up to 2,000 I think it was. So those who were lucky enough to get entry saw a rudimentary 4-1 win, courtesy of goals by Lacazette, and got a real worldie. Pablo Mari, Eddie Nketiah and Emil Smith-Rowe. Good performance. And there was a number of players that I thought had good games. Pepe, I thought had a good game. He continued his redemption. Ainsley, I thought played well. Cedric, Lacazette and Pablo Mari. What's your thoughts on the game, bro?
It was a good victory. It was nice to see the fans back in. Lacazette scored a belter. Pablo Mari, good to see him playing. He's been injured for 5 months. Yeah. Ainsley gets a run out, which you don't get too many run outs, not in an Arsenal shirt anyway.
Free Ainsley,
man. And Cedric looked decent as well. I mean, look, the opposition are not great, but you can only beat what's in front of you.
That's
Top of the group, unbeaten in Europe, you know. I smile on a Thursday. Yeah. It's on the weekend where it goes
a lot of people, different. I mean, I spoke to one or two people who did go to the game.
Yeah.
One of them's a free contributor to AFTV on the fan cams. And she said that she actually enjoyed the game. It was Arsenal played some good football, which is not something that a lot of us can say recently. Yeah. So, you know what I mean? I think in the Europa League, a bit of the pressure's off. Let's be honest, the opposition is not great. But we're doing well so far. We've won all our games, 5 games. We've won all of them. We're top of the group. We're pretty much qualified now. So, yeah, the Europa League campaign is going well. But unfortunately, that's as good as it's getting at the moment, isn't it? Because a few days after that, we had the big game of the season, North London derby, Arsenal away to Tottenham in front of their fans. Massive game. We're coming off the back of some pretty poor form. They were in form. And let's just say it didn't go our way. So Curtis, let me say, when you saw the team, man, what was your thoughts? The team and the lineup.
Do you know what? I liked the formation. I liked most of the team. I thought there was a couple of selections there that I was questioning. And they kind of cost us in the end. Not just those couple of players. As I said, I would have played Ainsley. I would have played him for his pace against Heung-min Son. Yeah. And Granit Xhaka I wouldn't have played either. I think with Holding, we didn't really have a choice because it was either like Holding or Mustafi. So yeah, I think Bellerin and Xhaka are the two I kind of looked at and thought, it's risky. But overall, the team was all right apart from that.
What did you think of the formation? Because he was like, I think we lined up 4-2-3-1.
Yeah.
With
and Lacazette was in the 10.
Yeah, kind of false number 10.
Yeah, I didn't mind that. I've seen a few people criticising it. I thought you know, at the moment, Lacazette playing through the middle as the number 9 is not really working.
No.
He played well on Thursday in that 10 role, and I thought, why not play him behind Aubameyang? We've got to try something. Things aren't working, so why not try it?
And of course, we had Partey back for the game. A lot of people were excited about that.
He was partly back. I don't know. We had part of him. You know, I don't know if his whole.
We'll come on to that. Yeah. But was you happy that he was in the starting line?
Yeah. You know what? I'm not going to be contradictory. I felt like we had to take the risk. Although I'm not a doctor, I don't know what his medical report said. But if they felt like he was fit enough to play, it was probably worth taking the risk.
Well, credit to him for taking the risk. I mean, I have to say his efforts in, rushing back and taking the risk wasn't, I would say, altogether totally appreciated by the manager, given some of the comments after the game, and we'll touch on that. But yeah, it was good to see Partey back. I was mildly encouraged to see him back, because I have to be honest, going into that game, I was not optimistic. So that kind of gave me a level of optimism that stepped it up a bit. No, David Luiz, of course, he was out due to the, not concussion, but due to the head wound. But talking about the game itself, so it was one of those games, man, wasn't it, where we had a lot of possession. I think it was overall 70% possession to Spurs' 30%. We had 11 shots on goal to their 5. I think we made like 630 odd passes to their 288. We had a higher pass accuracy. But of course, the important stat was goals. And in that front, sadly, we did not score in the game yet again. They got 2 goals to our none. Let's talk about that first goal. There was a suggestion that Leno could have done a bit better. What's your thoughts on that one?
Do you know what? When I initially saw it, something in my head, I don't know what said, I felt like that went in too easy.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, it's a fantastic finish. I didn't even expect him to shoot that early. But just something said to me, you know what, Leno didn't even get close to that. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not sure whether he should save that or not, so I'm not going to blame Leno. But I think if you look at his positioning, he's a little bit too far forward, he's a little bit too far to the right. I think he could have got closer to it. Whether he saves it or not, I'm not going to really blame him for it, because I think the defending before it is what caused it.
Yeah, I mean, like you, initially when I saw the shot, I thought he's got beaten a long way out in what wasn't really a power drive, was it? It was more of a curling shot. Don't get me wrong, it was a worthy, fantastic shot. But initially I thought, well, he looked like he could have done a bit better with it. But you know what, I'm not going to pour shade on him for that, man. It is what it is. It was a fantastic goal. And, straight away, well, I think we said on the show last week, and we spoke about the game, in the lead up to the game itself. And we were saying that if we were going to do anything in that game, we needed to score first.
Definitely.
So after about 13, 14 minutes, they got that goal. I'm already thinking, wow, man, this is not looking good. And then, of course, the second one goes in soon after. Good strike by Harry Kane, good build-up play. And once that goes in,
you felt like the game was over.
I thought the game was over. I'm just going to keep it 100.
For me, I think that second goal was absolutely shocking from our point of view. 44 minutes into a game, you're 1-0 down. It's a massive game. Now, don't get me wrong, Tottenham are a good team, but go in at half-time 1-0 down, regroup, you're still in the game, you've still got a chance. There's 45 minutes to go. How are you getting caught 4-on-2? A minute before half time?
That's right. That's what annoyed me.
Tottenham's strength is Son and Kane. Kane usually getting the ball to Son or vice versa. Why are our fullbacks both so high up the pitch? They're on the edge of their penalty area. Even Granit Xhaka's gone as well. We should have at least 3 or 4 players back protecting us, making sure we go in. As you said, when that second goal goes in, I was sitting there thinking, I can't see us scoring 2 goals, not the way we're playing.
I couldn't even see us scoring 1 goal.
Oh, mate, do you know what I mean?
Another could Jose.
I felt like, overall, I know we're just talking about that goal, but I felt like the performance was very naive and immature. I think every man and his dog knew what Mourinho was going to do. He's going to play counter-attacking football. He's going to wait for you to over-commit. And we just fell into the trap and conceded twice and gave him the game. And second half, they just sat there and said, put the crosses in, you ain't going to score.
so Bellerin bombs down the wing. He puts it's in a dreadful ball, which is behind Aubameyang. I could not believe that some people were criticising Aubameyang for not getting the ball there.
It's a terrible cross.
The ball's behind him. What can he do? And this is symptomatic of what we're talking about. The service to the strikers is very poor from the fullbacks. But anyway, so the attack breaks down, and like you said, we're overcommitted in attack. And this is where we're going to talk about Partey. What was your thoughts on Partey coming off the pitch and then seemingly Mikel Arteta trying to push him back?
First of all, I felt that whole situation just summed up our season because it was embarrassing. I thought it was embarrassing. Right? It was embarrassing. What I will say, and I don't often defend Arteta, but I will here. To me, unless you're in agony, like you're in so much pain, it's unbelievable. Stand on the pitch. Even lay down, and then the referee might see you on the floor and blow his whistle.
I don't think he would have, though, because it's not a head wound.
Not a head wound, but I think he's at least, because what happened, when he comes off the pitch, that Tottenham player who was Son, who ran with the ball and then passed it to Kane, he can just see open space in front of him. If he sees Thomas Partey there, he's probably not aware that he's injured. He might pass that ball. You know, he might think Partey's waiting for me, I better pass it. Maybe that goal doesn't happen. So for me, I do believe Partey should have stayed on the pitch. Maybe tell Arteta, look, I've got to come off, get the sub ready, even if you stand there. You know, I've seen games before where teams have used all three subs, someone's got injured, and the guy's literally just stands on the pitch just to be a body in the way. So, but then when he pushes him back on the pitch and you see him trying to run and pull up even more, you just think,
and that may have injured him even more.
It could have made it even worse.
I think it has actually. They said that he could now be out for another 4 weeks, which is
man. And then you hear the interview after, and I'm thinking, oh no, Arteta's kind of having a go.
Now that's what concerned me, because I mean, listen, okay, say what you want, whether he should have stayed on or come off, whether he was in agony or not. And let's be honest as well, it wasn't totally his fault, that goal anyway, because it was a real comedy of errors. So for people to try and put that on Partey, I thought that was very unfair. But my thing is, the guy had come back from injury when he clearly wasn't 100%.
Yeah.
He really showed his commitment and desperation to play for you. Okay, you can argue what you want about whether he should have stayed on the pitch or whatever. But then in the post-match interview, to highlight that and say, look, you know, he's got to learn from this. I thought, once again, the manager's throwing you under the bus.
I agree.
He didn't need to say that. And again, we said it on the show, I'll say it again, man management of players at this level is very important. And not for the first time this season, he's thrown his players under the bus. I don't think it's a good trait, man.
I totally agree. And to me, Thomas Partey playing in that game deserved praise, not criticism.
Yeah.
They said the week before he's 3 or 4 weeks away from being fit. 7 days later he's playing. So clearly he's risking an injury here, and he knows that. I think Arteta could have said, you know, maybe he should have stayed on the pitch, but I have to compliment him and praise him for showing that fight. We question a lot of players' commitment and spirit.
Right.
This guy's coming on the pitch when he's not fit, trying. He's come off injured. And I didn't like this kind of blame culture that's coming in every interview now. With and he's saying the strikers didn't score because.
I was going to touch on that. Yeah, I mean, after the game, he's talking. I mean,
we put 30 crosses in. Aubameyang scored 3 headers. In 3 years at Arsenal. So what are you expecting?
Exactly.
I thought we'd sign Chris Wood, Giroud, Peter Crouch, and Duncan Ferguson. The amount of crosses we were putting.
And then, if you notice, that was intuitive, because later on you got, was it Aubameyang's agent?
Yeah, well, yeah.
Put out a little tweet or something with a little diagram in it and saying about the lack of chances created. So that's a clear dig at the manager. And this is what happens when you start blaming people.
Exactly.
In public. You know, I mean, there's the time and place to do that. It's back in the dressing room, on the training ground, one-to-one with the person. Not sort of airing him out in public, like put it out on Front Street, man. I'm totally against that.
No, I wanted to ask you actually, what did you think about Hector Bellerin's throwing?
No, but according to him, he's thrown like that all his life. When he got pulled for it about 3 games before, I think someone said to me it's either 5 or 6 times he's been pulled for foul throw.
The most in the league.
Now, that again sums up our season. You got a guy, one of the senior players, one of the guys that's always chirping, always making these sort of Churchillian type speeches about showing fight and this and being resolute, and you can't even take a throw in. And not to mention, Bellerin as well, he had a shocking performance. Not for the first time this season. I really can't see why that guy gets in the team over and above Ainsley. No. Somebody send us that in the comment section, why? Because I just don't get it. No. Clearly Arteta's seen something.
He's Arteta's secret son, isn't he, from when he played for Arsenal?
Well, we won't go down that road. But seriously, if somebody can explain the rationale behind Hector Bellerin playing every week, then I want to know. Because he must be one of the most protected players in the Premier League.
It's true.
But anyway, to get back to the game then. So after they get that second goal, I was already thinking, you know what, that's it, we're done, man. And in the second half, it was just classic Jose, innit? He was
shut up shop.
You know, he was happy to give us a ball and say, look, try and have a go at breaking us down.
We didn't get
but
close.
We might catch you on the counter and put the game out of sight. We didn't get close. I mean, like, you know, as I said earlier, we had plenty of possession and all the rest of it. We did actually create more chances on goal than that. But as you said, a lot of those so-called chances were just balls in the air and
hit and hope.
5'8" Lacazette got on the head of one of them. Aubameyang, who's only scored about, was it 3 goals? Three headed goals.
Yeah.
So that tactic against guys like Alderweireld and people like that was never really going to work, was it?
No.
And once again, the build-up play was quite poor, wasn't it? And I know you got some thoughts on Granit Xhaka's performance at that game.
I mean, listen. I saw Granit Xhaka rugby tackle someone, and I'm not even exaggerating, and I think this guy tries to fool the fans into thinking I'm this full-blooded, overly committed player. The guy is an absolute liability. And this is what I say about Mikel Arteta. A lot of people say Mikel Arteta needs his own players, right? Which I get. But he chose to not sell some of these players. Granit Xhaka, we had an offer for him last January.
We had an offer for Bellerin as well.
He said no.
We also had an offer for Ainsley, which is, if you're not going to play the guy, why don't you just take the offer?
Take the money and replace it. Do you know what I mean?
With somebody who you see is more fit for that role.
Yeah. And he had options, you know. He could have played Ainsley or Cedric ahead of Hector Bellerin. He could have played Ceballos or El Neni. He could have played Maitland-Niles even in midfield, where he played on Thursday and did well. So to me, and then every interview that I watch Mikel Arteta after a game, I just start to go, oh no, this guy, he just looks like a man under pressure to me, massively under pressure.
I mean, look, we're in the bottom half of the table. 15th, we're only 2 places off the relegation.
Do you know what, the other day I had to celebrate Southampton getting an equaliser against Brighton because we were 16th for 20 minutes. Southampton got us back up to 15th, so, you know.
Just 9 goals in 11 league games. I mean, and that start that we've made, I think it's the lowest in 45 years.
We scored 3 in the first game. We got 3 in the first game.
Yeah, we failed to score in 5 of our last 6 Premier League games and scored 1 goal in the last 6 Premier League matches.
Terrible.
And like the Wolves game, I just got the impression that we could have played the whole night and we weren't going to score. That's how it seemed to me, people.
It's true. We'd still be crossing the ball now.
So yeah, it was just like the Wolves game, and I couldn't help but think of the phrase, same shit, different toilet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's all it is.
You know what I mean? It was just so predictable. The way the slow build up, slow ball, so predictable. No spark of invention, no one willing to take a shot. I mean, weren't we led to believe that Granit Xhaka's supposed to have a bit of a pile drive in left foot? He doesn't appear to want to shoot.
We don't shoot at all, do we, really?
No. So how are we going to break down teams like this?
This is the thing, for me.
And that's why Jose, I mean, listen, it wasn't particularly exciting from their fans' point of view, but they did the job. They executed their game plan to perfection. Where I have some contention with Arteta was, what was our game plan? I mean, he spoke after the game about how many chances we'd created and...
Nonsense.
But, you know, I think that's... I don't know, man. I think he's...
Desperation.
He's over-egging that pudding,
to
say the least. Because, yes, we had more possession. Yes, we created more chances. Yes, our passing accuracy was greater. But we were never going to win that game.
Never. We just didn't look like winning. And then make matters worse, after the game, you got Mourinho in his press conference bigging up Arteta, like
Bro.
giving him some backhanded compliment. Yeah, I think they should keep him at Arsenal.
That's always a dangerous sign, people, because given the type of personality that Mourinho is, if he's showering praise on you as a manager, that tells you straight away that he doesn't really rate you. He don't consider you as a threat.
No.
So if he's coming after you and being a bit edgy, being a bit nasty, that's when you know you've got under his skin. That means he acknowledges your threat. The fact that he's tapping you on the head and saying nice little things, that pretty much tells it all, man. But so we've lost another game, man. So the fallout of the game afterwards is, what's going to happen with Arteta now? And I'm asking you, Curtis, do you, not that you ever did, trust in the process? Is it distrust of the process?
Yeah, I think the process was made up in the first place. I think that phrase, trust the process, was just something that's said to buy time. Just to buy time. If we lose a game, I'll trust the process. And it doesn't really mean anything. As I said, he's been in the job a year in a couple of weeks. Where are we going? What is the style of football? What are we actually trying to achieve long term? Yeah, I get it. You might not have all the players that you need, but where are you trying to take us? And to me, I think the longer he stays in charge, the more dangerous it gets, because we're 15th in the league. We're closer to the bottom three than the top four.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So I think.
And the thing for me is, you made a very good point there, and this is a question that I'd like to put out to people watching the show. My thing is that even if he turns it around in the short term, long term, do you really think that this manager is the kind of manager that can get the club back on an even keel and start challenging for honours and challenging for a top four place? And I have to say, at the moment, it's not looking that way, although it's not impossible. Because what I would say, and I'll be interested to hear your thoughts on this as well, is that I personally think that we have enough good players at the club to turn this around. I think that we're underachieving massively by being 15th in the table. My view is that we have enough good players there that we should be in and around 4th, 5th and 6th. I see teams that are way above us and playing well. Leicester, Wolves, Everton, Southampton even.
That's what I mean, yeah.
And I think that we got better squads than these teams.
Yeah.
You could argue first 11, but we've got better squads than a lot of these teams that are playing much better than us.
Yeah.
So why do you think it is that we're in that 15th place and these other teams are way above us?
I almost think when Arteta got the job, he walked into a dressing room that they were relieved to get Emery out. So I think Arteta, sometimes when a situation's so bad, you can only make it better. Yeah. So when he came in and the communication was better, he understood the club, I think it just lifted everyone, gave them that bit of spirit, that carried us till the end of the season. And Arteta does deserve credit for that. Yeah. He won the FA Cup, that was great. What he now is struggling with, in my opinion, I think now it's like, it's not that new manager bounce anymore. It's like, what are you actually made of now as a manager? This season is the first time he's really been put under big pressure and questioned. And I don't think he's had the answers to them questions, And as I said, as we've said many times, my biggest problem with him is man management. I think the ego of these players nowadays, you have to know how to manage people. And the way he's talking about players in interviews, I can only see him falling out with people.
That's right.
And when agents of players are starting to have a dig, you've seen Pogba's agent and what he's doing. To me, it only gets worse from that point. So
I mean, listen, I've got a long work history here, and I've worked in offices in a wide variety of different environments. And the one thing I would say is that when you work in for managers, if you have a manager that you perceive is quick to throw you under the bus, I can tell you it never goes down well.
No, never.
And if you're talking about football, a rarefied atmosphere where players are earning, hundreds of thousands of pounds a week, basically, they do wield a lot of power. And if they perceive you to be out there, chatting greasy about them in public like that, I don't think that's going to go down very well at all. And like I said, we saw little signs of that already. And then this week as well with the Aubameyang thing, I thought that was quite instructive that his agent should put that out like that.
Because he wouldn't just do that.
Yeah, exactly.
He must have communicated, I'm going to say something.
And look, he's not just your top goal scorer and your iconic player, he's your captain. Show the man some respect, man.
Do you know what I mean?
You know what I mean? You shouldn't be talking like that. It's a team thing, so you win together, you lose together, you draw together. And I just think that whole... It's a very dangerous game he's playing.
Very, very.
Right, okay then, so not much happening there then. But to be honest, I'm going to keep it 100 here. I'm maybe not as gutted about losing that game as some fans. And I'll tell you why, because I honestly went into this game not expecting very much. I thought if we get a draw against Tottenham, given where we are, how we're playing, I thought that was a big result.
Yeah.
Now, this weekend now, it's an entirely different matter. Burnley, at home, in front of the fans. It's a must-win game in a way that the Tottenham game, although that was a must-win for tribal reasons, shall we say, this game we really do need to win it. And if we do not win it, I think there could be some serious occurrences going on.
Yeah.
So, my man, what's your thoughts on the game? In Burnley, let's have a look at the receipts on Burnley, man. They're not doing very well themselves, of course. Currently in the bottom three, 18th place with just 6 points, played 10 games. They've only won 1. So home to Crystal Palace, drawn 3, lost 6. So they're not playing well, and they're coming to us at a time when we need the points. Can we beat them? Will we beat them? Curtis, Big C Shaw in the house, what you say?
Bro, if we don't beat Burnley at home, just forget it. Forget it, mate, honestly. And the worst thing is, I'm honestly not confident that we will win it. We should win it, everything. But you can just see it. Chris Wood, set piece. You know, as I said, every time we've gone a goal down, we've lost. We cannot concede first.
I mean, if you're Sean Dyche, it's obvious what the tactics are going to be.
He's going to put 10 men behind the ball.
10 men behind the ball.
Leave Chris Wood up there.
Leave Chris Woods up front. Hope for a set piece, a corner, free kick, something like that. And nick one. And then they're going to just shut it down. And, you know what I mean? Few previous games that we've shown no inclination to break teams down. What's to say we were going to break Burnley down? We couldn't do it against Wolves. We come nowhere near close to doing it against Tottenham. And let's face it, on their day, Burnley are a good, tough, resilient side. And they won't give it up. No. Burnley, we know that. They're not going to come here and lie down. At least I don't think so. Even given the way their form's been this season. So, I mean, previously we do quite well against Burnley. Last year, I think we beat them, I think 2-0, and I think we drew at their place. So.
Yeah, I remember that Aubameyang goal. Yeah. No, I think
Ceballos was instrumental in that game.
Yeah, I remember that was his game where we thought he was the next big thing.
So, he was man of the match. So maybe he should play. He should play anyway.
He's better than Xhaka, man. Come on.
But then with Partey being out, it could be Xhaka and Ceballos.
Yeah, which is just...
Because at least with Ceballos in, it gives you at least a sort of...
At least someone's trying to get on the ball and make something happen.
And being a bit more creative.
Xhaka just doesn't have no mobility. The Premier League's so quick now. You can't have a guy in midfield who's that slow.
I think Xhaka's the kind of guy that if you're doing well,
he can be a
in the team, he can be a good member of your team. But if you're trying to create and you're up against it, then I'm afraid these attributes don't really count for much.
We have to win this game. I don't care if it goes in off someone's shoulder, if we win 1-0, 5-0.
I'll take one off the
Get a win at all costs. And I think Arteta knows deep down, if he loses this game, he's in big trouble. I still don't think the board would get rid of him if he lost this game.
I don't think
I just don't think that we will have to be maybe even in the bottom 3 for them to move it. They don't want to get rid of it. I've got different thoughts on that, but listen.
I'm pressing you for a prediction because we're running out of time.
I've got to go for that safe 2-1 again.
Yeah.
You know, at the moment I can't. I hope it's more than that. I hope it is, but I'll go 2-1.
I'm going to be a little bit more positive than you, although I'm struggling to be positive in this current time. But I'm going 2-0.
2-0.
I mean, last year we beat them. I think it was 2-0 with goals from Aubameyang and Lacazette. I think it could be a similar thing.
I hope so.
This year. So, man, I think we've got to get a result. We've got to start well. We've got to go at them. We've got to be cognizant of defence. But the emphasis has got to be on trying to break Burnley down, because we know what they're going to do. Everybody knows what they're going to do straight away. So in training, I would imagine they're looking to address how we can be a bit more creative. Why not have some of the midfielders take a few more shots, you know what I mean? And these aerial balls into the box.
And not against Burnley either.
Yeah, against Tottenham, they're not going to work. They didn't work. Against Burnley, they're very unlikely to work. You know what I mean? Maybe play Gabriel up front.
Yeah, he's good in the air, isn't he? And he looks stressed at the back, man. That hairline's disappearing, bro. You know what I mean?
Well, apart from Lacazette, I mean, he's on 2 each of Aubameyang.
Yeah,
so
he might win the Golden Boot. He's winning Player of the Month every month, isn't he?
Yeah. So, okay, so you're going 2-1, I'm going
2-1.
2-0. Thanks, Peter. We're coming to the end of the show. Thanks very much for watching. Really appreciate your support. Hope you enjoyed the show. Please send us your comments on the subjects we spoke about. Do you still trust in the process? Or like Curtis, do you distrust the process? If we lose against Burnley, is that curtains for Arteta? Personally, I don't think so. I mean, what would be the options anyway? Mertesacker taking over?
No, I don't want that.
But I mean, jokes aside, if we do lose, or even draw, I would say, even if we draw.
That's just as bad to me.
That is a poor result, man, especially at a time when we need the points. Can we stay up?
I think we'll get to 40 points. Yeah,
Roy Keane says he thinks we'll stay up.
I think we'll stay
for once, I'll agree with Roy Keane.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But yeah, man, like, share, subscribe. Download the Flick app where you can interact with us and send us your comments, not just on this show, but on AFTV content in general. And we look forward to seeing you next week. Respect.
It's Robbie here from AFTV. Don't forget to check out AFTV on Flick for all the latest transfer rumours, for all the information on Arsenal, for all the information on AFTV. You can check me there for Q&As on a regular basis. The link is in the description. It is free to download. Download it right now.